Again.
Again. You know, I like to take over people meeting.
Right.
All right, so we have some people missing as usual. Where's Bonnie been this afternoon? Has Bonnie been in any of these Zoom chats?
Yeah, he was a part of mine.
Oh, okay.
Well, no, he was a part of the first one.
Okay.
Yeah, part of yours.
Apparently, a lot of our classmates are essential workers, boy. And they have work.
A couple of us had a title.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah, but they only know essential workers now, isn't it?
Yeah. No comment. All right, so if all of us here who will be here, we could probably go on to that foresight thing was also finishing off from yesterday because I didn't want to leave it hanging. I didn't want people going off with the idea that foresight thing is something that you could do on your own, or you could do without training, or you could do without putting together the focus groups and so that develop the scenarios. So I hope we covered that then. And the last thing I wanted to do as we close off this week, I wanted us to finish that discussion on the grant application, the proposal writing. Right, remember we are going through that that GCF draft that I shared with you. So I'm just going to finish that up and we'll close off this week. And I think it will be a very useful and successful week. And let me talk on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday next week. We talk about wrapping up the course. So you see, it's not that difficult after all. And you will survive. Most of you will survive it, I'm sure. Okay, so just give me a minute. Let me share my screen with you and we will discuss that section of the GCF application. Right, so that we'll complete what we started, which was, we started with a very simple in terms of the quantum of information they're looking for and the amount of money involved, and go on to the more complicated one, which is the GCF. Agreed? It's still a democracy, you know, people. Agreed?
Agreed.
Yeah.
I agree.
Agreed.
Agreed.
It's a benevolent dictatorship. I mean, we have all the makings of a democracy, but it's really.
You see that mute and unmute thing is working in the system there, but it's okay.
I will find
taking me forever to unmute, you know?
So Maxime, I will find we have a Dominica system and we won't have a scary system.
Oh gosh, no. You see that? I don't even know enough about that to make a deal in Grenada for something about Dominica, Papa. So just leave that right there. I'm operating all 14 CARICOM territories. I make sure I don't get in from the Dominica jail in any one of them. So keep that scared talk to yourself. I'm always floating around Dominica, and I don't want to get into that old talk at all. Because as an aside, I actually met Patrick John and thinking, for those of you who are not steeped in Dominican politics, Patrick John was the ex-prime minister who tried to invade and thing when Eugenia Charles was in power. You all know that? You all knew that?
Yeah, I know about that.
All right. Yeah. So I actually went in Patrick John's house and thing else. So if it had a time for me to make a deal, it would have been then. So I'm prepared to make
I don't miss you, don't pass you, don't worry.
Jail make the right thing. I keep telling you all that all the time. Jail make for people.
That's right. People.
Jail make for people, of course. All right, so hold on a second, let me share the screen. Okay, guys, are you seeing that?
Yes, I'm seeing.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Let me just,
Yes, yes.
okay. Okay. Let me see. I'm trying to remember where we got to. We did this, right? I explained it, the 5 objectives.
Yes, we did. Sorry.
Okay, right. Hold a second. Let me just have Noja join here. Hold on. Noja, there's a link from Kenya. She's hosting. All right, outcomes. Did we get down to this?
No.
Okay, all right, so help me. Where were we? Oh, we started to discuss the outcomes, and Noja was saying that, you know, she didn't like the idea that they gave you the actual outcomes. Is that where we stopped?
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. All right. We were talking about one of the outcomes had to do with the stakeholders and the importance of engaging stakeholders. Okay, one of probably the last couple of things I want to discuss in terms of how these proposals are done. And this would not have been something that you will see in the small grants proposal. Karen, have you done any proposals where you had to put in a theory of change diagram like this?
No.
Okay, so let me explain the concept here. When you're writing up a proposal, right, usually there's a need that you're going to be addressing, right? Which in this case, they're referring to as a problem statement. And usually it is to accomplish a goal. Yeah?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, something like that, but
So these are the steps that they ask for in terms of how you develop the theory of change. In other words, if this project is to have impact, if it is to make a change in how things are done, right? There must be some theory behind it. There must be some mechanism how you're going to move from the problem to the goal. Everybody still with me? Please stop me if you're not clear.
Yeah, we're still with you.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. So the way it's structured in the GCF is that there are these outcomes, which you see in the third from the top, third column from the top, right? It's the outcomes that we would have discussed in the previous sessions when I told you that it GCF gives you the outcomes. And this is what Noja was so upset about, that, you know, that you don't like the fact that they actually giving you the outcomes. But as I mentioned, then it's the money that they're in control of, and they want to be able to measure it against some standards, and they have standard outcomes, right? What would be different would be the outputs, the actual outputs and deliverables that lead you to those outcomes. Now, let me start from below. So there's a problem statement, there's a need, right? You frame that need in terms of a problem statement, okay? The problem might be that the agricultural sector has certain structural weaknesses, blah, 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 blah. And that is what we are looking to address. That is what is going to result in the positive outcomes that we had in the first part of the application. Again, stop me if I lose here, all right? Because I'm going to run on as if you're following me. So this problem statement lists the issue, which in another type of application, in another type of proposal, would have been listed as the need. Assumptions and risk, this is standard, because if you're saying you're going to address the problem.
So, excuse me, sorry for cutting. Did you say the need, right?
Then say, sorry.
The need.
Yeah, the need. The problem
Right.
statement
Okay.
would be
Right.
the need statement in another type of proposal, right?
Proposal, yes, I understand. Okay.
So once you've listed what the needs, there are certain assumptions and risks that you're working with. Even a traditional log frame, those of you who've seen a logical framework and know what a logical framework is about, they usually ask you, what are some of the assumptions that you're dealing with? Because if you're going to tackle this need, there are some assumptions that you're working with in terms of who are the people affected.
And its regions.
Sorry? Missed that.
Then it might be, everybody might be on board. There might be the assumption we might make.
Right. And then you have
and Janice and Twine in Mount
sorry,
Granby.
somebody's
John
mic is on.
Oscar Maras and Conrad
Richard-
Regis in Paraclete.
Richard,
Regis Cooper.
the mic is on.
20 children, 7 great-grandchildren.
Richardson, thank you. Yeah. So you have your assumptions and risk. And then there are times when there are actual barriers to continuing with what you want to address. In the sense that this is not a risk. A risk is something that there's a potential for it to happen. A barrier is something that's actually just stopping the project from moving forward if you don't resolve it. Does everyone get that distinction? A risk,
Yeah, what I'm called
risk is like a
about.
possible barrier. A risk is like a possible barrier in the future, right? But a barrier is something that is there right now. In other words, there may be, okay, if you're saying that the problem has to do with shortcomings in the agricultural sector, one of the barriers might be that you can't address it because they have no staff, right? There's not a risk that they will have less staff. The fact is that right now you have no staff. So that's a definite barrier if you're saying that the way to address the problem is by using staff to do X, Y, and Z. So an immediate barrier there would be the fact that you have no staff now, as opposed to the risk of staff not being available when you need them. Does everyone get that distinction?
Yeah.
Karen?
Most definitely.
Okay.
Okay.
Then
The term theory of change, TOC, it's kind of it's kind of new to me, but if you're doing a proposal and you don't have something like that structured, then you're aiming for disaster. So I
yeah,
may have
it's just a formal way of putting it down. But most people end up doing it anyhow.
right. That's right.
Yeah. But the thing is that they go a step further, and I'll tell you what I mean by a step further. The inputs would be stuff that you would have used in terms of developing the proposal. So some of the inputs might have been past studies, similar grants like this that you would have patterned, you've patterned your proposal on, right? All of those would be inputs. The outputs would be actually what is leading to your deliverables. The deliverables, of course, are the tangible things that you end up with as part of your output. So that they may be reports, they may be software, hardware, infrastructure, all those kinds of things. And the outcome is where your traditional proposal ends. It usually ends with the outcome in a traditional proposal. But with the GCF, they go further. They are saying that these outcomes are all leading to a particular goal, a longer term goal. In other words, the goal is not going to be achieved by just this project alone. But the outcomes of this project are going to take it to a bigger goal. So if the problem they're addressing now is the lack of agricultural involvement in a particular kind of activity, let's say in root crop production, right? Then the goal might be food security. So root crop production alone is not going to help you get to food security as an outcome. So if the outcome of this project is root crop production or roots and tubers, the goal, the ultimate goal is really food security, which will include, you know, protein sources, your livestock, etc. So that is what I mean by a goal statement and a goal. So the goal is the biggest picture at the end of the road, whereas the outcomes is the end, marks the end of the how far the project could reach. So can I just, do I need to go over that one more time?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, with this theory for change you have there, right? It
Of change,
basically
of
speaks
change.
about
In other words, this is how you're
change.
explaining the change that is
Sorry.
going to.
Yes. So the theory of change you have there, what you basically explain on this theory is the risk that has affected the barriers. So we're not really talking about the factors that would work for the change in this theory.
Yeah, the assumption.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what the assumption.
The
But the
assumption.
assumption kind of.
No. If the assumption is negative, then it's a risk.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. So
That's why they have the,
yeah,
that's why
that
the
was kind
section is assumptions and risk. So the assumptions tend to be the positive side. The risk tend to be negative.
Okay. Okay, I got it now.
Right.
So that's what I thought was missing there, but I wasn't looking at it properly.
Yeah. Right. So then.
Yeah, because I know in change you have forces for and against, right? So,
right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Usually the assumptions are, you know, tend to be on the positive side. The risk tend to be on the negative side.
Yeah. So that's what I wanted to clarify. Thank you.
You'll never put a risk as the risk of the project having too much money. You know, that's never seen as a risk. You know what I mean?
No.
Multiplier never seen as a risk. Risk usually tends to be, you know, tends to deal with negative stuff.
Yeah. Huh? Yeah, our risk might be it could be time or insufficient manpower,
loss of political support. That tends to be the biggest.
Yes.
That tends to be
that's right.
With any project.
Yep.
Anybody who has done anything with project management will know that. And that political risk doesn't mean the government, you know. It could mean internal politics of the organization as well.
No, politics of the group.
Yeah, of the organization, you know, whether it's a group or a business or whatever it is.
Yep.
You'll very well find that a new general manager comes in place and looks at that project and wants to know who is the idiot that came up with this, right? After they would have gone through the process, and sometimes a new manager is coming and wants to put their stamp on things, and just wouldn't complete with this project because he doesn't want the past manager to get the glory. He wants to have, he or she wants to have their own stamp on it, right? So that's what I mean by political risk. And then, of course, there's the risk that the government may change, you know, or the government's mind might change. So when they were studying about widening the river, you know, they were operating on a particular set of principles, and now that the government principles have changed, or you know, things have changed, you know, they may very well
economy changing the economy.
Yeah, or if they have to deal with the road that's slipping in where's that big landslip now? Was that area
I didn't hear you.
What's that area on the west coast that the big landslip?
Molyneux.
In Molyneux, right? So if resources have to be diverted to Molyneux, you know, they just political will changes, you know, and they figure, you know, look, this thing impacted more people than this widening this river here for these 6 or 7 families, you know, then yeah, right? So that's what I mean by risk, political risk.
Yeah, but that is actually a thing, because the money that was allocated to
why is it as the example? Is because I know it's
well,
I just don't want to be the one to make the jail. You know, I prefer Karen. I much prefer if Karen does that. Yeah. As I tell you, I keep telling you, jail making jail is for people. And anything I can do to assist you or to make it to it, I just not accompanying you. Yeah. But you got the difference between the outcomes and the goals as far as the GCF is concerned. People?
What was the question? You speak a bit low though.
I said, are you clear with the difference between the outcomes and the goals in GCF language, in GCF speak?
Yes, sir.
Right. Yes.
But remember, one of the reasons why I introduced it to both kinds of, or both ends of the spectrum, if you like, is that every proposal you write has to be targeted to the donor or the prospective funder, right? So you have to know what they look for, and most times they'll have guidelines. And as I told you, the small grants guidelines is about 5 pages. GCF one is about 50, right? That's just to tell you that, you know, the level of detail that they're looking for, right? And some donors, some agencies do not even accept the application unless you have checked off all the boxes. Everything they ask for, you have it. If there's one thing missing, they send it back, and then you have to fix it up before they accept it. And then it goes into the pipeline. What I mean by that, it means they're going to be dealing with it in the order that they got it. So they're going to be dealing with it in the order that they got it, right? So, you know.
Even snapping on your lights, eh?
Huh? Yeah.
Snapping on your lights.
Yeah, so you have the problem statement, you talk about the assumptions and risks, and even though they ask for a theory of change, they're still asking for a log framing. Because you notice in this theory of change, you don't have the deliverables, right? Whereas the log frame would have the deliverables included as well, right?
Yep.
So they ask for a lot of stuff.
But the good thing about this is, see, what you would have taught us based on what these funding agency does. They basically list what they're looking for. So when we put the proposal together, we actually would do it based on what their requirements are.
Yeah, but one of the reasons why they usually put aside like a 50,000 US to do the proposal is because of the amount of things that they ask you to do.
Okay.
This is a readiness grant, which, as I told you, is by GCF terms, this is small money. But when you're doing a proposal for 50 million US, the kind of detail they ask you for, the kind of feasibility studies you have to do as the person preparing it, they usually estimate that it will cost about $50,000 to do it, 50,000 US. So it's not as if they're going to call one consultant and say, no, here, write this up for you, right? It's usually a firm. And if we go back to the same example that I keep using, G Cruise, the climate resilient water project for Grenada, that's been delivered by the Germans. It's now one consultant sit down to write that, right? It was a large team. So even though 50,000 US might sound like a big set of money, if you have 5 people in there, it's 10,000 a person, which is not an unreasonable amount for the kind of work that is involved. Okay?
Yeah.
Cool. Now, I don't want to get into a new topic in the remaining 10 minutes we have. So let me just ask you guys if there's anything in particular based on what we did for the day that is bothering you or troubling you as we end week. Is this week 8? Week 7?
I lost track.
Yeah. I'm like we had fun enough, so.
Let me see. We started on the 10th. Let me just see.
Steve, I have a question. This presentation that you're using, did you send that one to us?
No, I can't understand.
You can send it. You can send it.
But you have it.
I won't tell.
Recording. You're gonna have it on the recording. I forget.
Okay.
I'm not giving you the whole PowerPoint.
All right. But once I get it, some kind of way.
Yeah. Let me just check what regions. 1, 2, 3. 4, 5.
I'm going to leave.
It's the end of week 7.
Yeah, I'm just going to check it.
We're into week 8 now. Yes, Jeanette, you're asking us something?
No. That's all I was asking.
Jeanette, your mic is on. Oh, okay, right. Cool. All right, guys. So as I said, I don't want to start a new aspect in the remaining.
We on week 8, you know, Steve. That's week 8.
This is week 8?
Yeah.
I thought so. Let me just
We
check.
started on the 10th.
Let me check it back again. Okay. You have a calendar?
Yeah, I'm looking at the calendar. 1, 2, 3 weeks in February. And 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks in March. And in this one here going into April. Yeah.
Oh yes, I was looking at my oh boy. Okay.
Yes, so we're on week 8.
So next week is week 9.
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna finish by the end of next week or at least 2 days into the following week. Okay?
Okay.
So I didn't quite hear that. Can you kindly repeat?
We're gonna finish either the end of next week, finish the 2 courses the end of next week, or maybe by the 2 days in the following week. We're not going to be on the 14th.
Download it on the laptop now.
Anyhow,
I have one more question.
mics are on. People have mics on, please.
Oh, tell your mic is on.
I have one more question, sir.
Hit me.
Yeah. I don't know if I have it right, but to me, I'm thinking that we have another assignment apart from putting the project proposal together. Is another assignment?
No? What you haven't heard is the good news is that I'm marking you based on project work alone.
Okay.
There'll be no end of semester exam.
Oh, so that's covered 19 blessings?
Yep.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Decision. That is why the people who missed out on the classes and missed out on the projects, I mean, they kind of up a gum tree now. So if you're planning that you're going to miss all 9 weeks and just come for the exam, you have a bit of a problem there.
Okay. Got
All right.
you. Thank you, sir.
Okay, dokes. So I think we have to, I'm prepared to call it a night here while I do the recordings and do the YouTube, so that I should finish by about next 20-25 minutes, and then I'll load it up on WhatsApp, and you can go over it at your leisure, and we can call it a week. Right?
Thank you.
A week.
Okay.
The second week of total lockdown classes, not so?
Yeah, we should be the lockdown should finish next week.
Hopefully, I really hope so.
I don't see that, but anyhow, we shall see.
Kieran, are you foresighting or you forecasting?
I think you're
it's more having knowledge.
Really? Okay. If you say that, I wouldn't argue.
Yeah, well,
I doubt we're gonna open up. I'm going with Steve. I thought we're going to.
But I mean, the groceries must reopen at some point. But
yeah, as long as that grocery opening and people going and coming.
Yeah, basically.
Groceries open tomorrow.
We have
from
issues.
8 to 12.
No groceries.
And then we have supermarkets open too tomorrow. Supermarkets as well. Marketing boards, supermarkets, all of them.
Yeah, they're opening tomorut
I have that
from 8 to 12.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, 8 to 12.
Foodland, Wester Hall.
Out. That's part of the original regulation.
Yeah, all of marketing board branches will be open.
Yes.
That was a part of
the curfew. The curfew is still in effect. Persons can go out if they need to go shopping. They go shopping and they go back home. So no other businesses and so on and so forth. This is for going to shop to get food and for essential workers to get gas.
Yeah, but we still.
You can also buy your text gas too, and you can also go to the teller machine and get your finances. It is also a part of the process.
Yeah. Okay. We can't go inter-parish. It's only inter-parish though. We're not allowed to move from parish to parish.
Okay, so
only if you have a medical reason or you're going to collect medication and you have a prescription.
You can always write to the Commissioner of Police, Karen, if you have a reason and need to go out of parish to get your pass.
So that's what I mean.
Yeah. I think I understood that too. All right, so in St. George's, I could go Foodland and I could go Food Fair, right?
Yeah, in St. George's, we have plenty options.
SOP2, right? Yeah.
All right, guys, I'm calling it night.
Yeah, I'm
All
calling.
right. Have a good night, everybody.
Okay, good night, everybody.
Guys, I will do the necessary recording and so, right? And load it up. Kenya, thanks a lot for allowing us to use your meeting room.
You're welcome. It
Okay.
appears that Zoom is giving unlimited minutes today.
I am not too sure about that, but let's not take it. Right? I want to be able to
That's why I said That's why I said we were gonna have time today, but apparently they didn't give it to me.
we got a note saying that it was upgraded, but since you didn't do it yourself, I wasn't going to take that chance that it will just cut off on us and we won't be able to record.
Yeah.
You understand? So we shall see.
Okay.
Guys.
All right.
Thanks
Good night.
Okay, bye. Good night.